Administrative Directive 1064, Excessive and Extreme Temperature Conditions in the TDCJ, and Correctional Managed Healthcare Policy D27.2, Heat Stress, detail the prevention and treatment of heat-related illnesses in the agency. The agency implements hot weather precautions on April 15th and lasts until October 31st, unless unseasonable weather temperatures require an extension. Your employee information card includes tips on recognizing, treating, and preventing heat-related illnesses in yourself, your fellow staff members, visitors, and inmates you supervise. Let's go over prevention, recognition of signs, and how to treat anyone who shows signs of heat-related illnesses. To prevent dehydration, drink water often, even if you're not thirsty. Everyone, both staff and inmates, should maintain an intake of at least 16 ounces of water per hour when a temperature gets over 90 degrees. Remind your coworkers and inmates about the importance of staying hydrated and encourage them to drink plenty of water throughout the day. An important indicator of dehydration may be urine color. Light yellow color means you're hydrated, while dark brown color may mean you're dehydrated and need to seek immediate medical attention. Posters with this information can be found in housing and common areas of your unit.
Administrative Directive 1064, Excessive and Extreme Temperature Conditions in the TDCJ. When does the agency implement hot weather precautions? April 15th to October 31st, May 15th to October 31st, June 15th to October 31st, July 15th to October 31st. April 15th to October 31st.
You also need to recognize symptoms of heat-related illness in others, so you can report this to medical staff and the unit risk manager immediately. Remember, everyone reacts different, so people with heat-related illness may not always display all symptoms listed. Heat cramps are usually the first sign and typically occur after strenuous physical activity in a hot environment. Look for heavy perspiration, involuntary muscle spasms, which sometimes begin after hard physical exertion, and pain or cramps in the arms, legs, or abdomen. Heat syncope is a brief loss of consciousness that results from the increased demand on the heart to pump blood to the skin. The heart becomes so taxed trying to pump blood to the skin to cool the body, generate adequate blood pressure, and provide blood to the brain to maintain consciousness, that a sudden, brief loss of consciousness may occur. Heat exhaustion is a common form of heat-related illness. Look for profuse perspiration with cool, sometimes pale and clammy skin, a normal or below normal body temperature, weakness, dizziness, thirst, bad headache, rapid heartbeat, and breathing. The person might be anxious, confused, or disoriented. They may suffer from fatigue and nausea and could have a loss of physical coordination. Heat stroke is life-threatening and can be fatal if left untreated. You need to get medical help immediately and be prepared to do rescue breathing or CPR. Look for red, hot, dry skin, a high body temperature, rapid, weak heartbeat, a throbbing headache, mental confusion, dizziness, extreme fatigue, nausea, vomiting, incoherent speech, convulsions or seizures, and unconsciousness. If you see someone with these symptoms, immediately report it to a staff member and seek medical care. Ensure notification is made to the shift supervisor, warden, and emergency action center.
If you recognize these symptoms in anyone, seek medical attention as soon as possible. While waiting for help, move the person from the direct sunlight to a cooler environment, air conditioned if possible. Have the person lie down with their legs slightly elevated. Remove or loosen as much clothing as modesty allows. If conscious and alert, have the person drink water or a rehydrating sports drink. Do not give them caffeinated drinks, as this will contribute to further dehydration. Sprinkle or spray them with water and apply cool water or wet cloths to the person's neck, armpits, and groin. Fan the person if there is no breeze. For quick reference, all this information is on your employee information card.
Administrative Directive 1064, Excessive and extreme temperature conditions in the TDCJ. What are some hot weather precautions to reduce the risk of heat exhaustion and heat stroke? Drink plenty of fluid. Utilize respite areas. No signs and treatment of heat-related illness. All of the above. All of the above.
Be aware of the weather conditions you'll be working in to determine if working outside is appropriate. In extreme conditions, you need to interrupt work every 15 to 20 minutes for a water break and instruct inmates to drink fluids even if they're not thirsty. Electrolyte drinks are available to staff and inmates at the commissary. Avoid drinks with caffeine as they contribute to dehydration. When outside, use sunscreen to prevent sunburn. Sunscreen is available at the commissary and it doesn't count against an inmate spending limit. Cooling towels are also available to you and the inmates from the commissary.
TDCJ takes additional precautions during transportations. When possible, inmates should be transported during the coolest hours of the day. Transport officers must review the roster and check for any inmates identified as heat sensitive so they can closely monitor these inmates for signs of heat-related illnesses. Water coolers on transport vehicles must be refilled to ensure cool drinking water is available during the entire trip. Cups must be available for inmates and paper towels should be kept on hand so they can be soaked with water and used as a cooling compress if necessary. Security is the first priority at every back gate, but remember that heat-related issues may occur when an occupied transport vehicle is stationary for any length of time. Buses and other transport vehicles may circle the perimeter or use a fan to cool the vehicle during these waiting periods. All reasonable efforts must be made to ensure the transport vehicle enters and exits the back gate in a safe, secure, and expedient manner. Always load and unload the transport vehicles as quickly as possible.
As each inmate arrives at an intake facility, medical staff will conduct an initial screening to determine if the inmate has any medical conditions or is taking any medication that could make them more susceptible to a heat-related illness. Correctional staff must be informed of these inmates, who will be temporarily placed on the heat restriction list until a full medical examination can be conducted. Medical staff must ensure that all HS-18 medical restrictions on the IMF medical screens or the HSIN screen and the heat-sensitive work restriction lists are current. This will help to facilitate housing assignments for each of our inmates.
Following a medical evaluation, certain inmates may be identified as being susceptible to heat-related illness. These inmates must be assigned to an air-conditioned housing area and are placed on the medical heat restriction list, and this list is updated daily to help you identify these inmates. The list is provided to officers assigned to housing areas by unit count room staff so that these inmates can be closely monitored during periods of extreme temperature. When you receive new inmates at the unit who may be heat sensitive, pay close attention to them and seek medical attention if they are exhibiting any signs of heat-related illness. During normal security checks, conduct wellness checks on all inmates and seek care for those who request medical assistance. During hot temperatures, inmates must be allowed to access respite areas. Respite areas may also be used by staff as needed. If an inmate notifies you of a heat-related illness, notify medical staff immediately and provide them immediate access to a respite area. Inmates in respite areas shall be permitted to stay in the respite area as long as necessary. In inmate housing areas, water and cups must always be available. Each inmate should have a cup. If the inmate does not have a cup, the unit's food service department must provide one. In situations where the heat index is above 90 degrees, additional water, ice, and cups will be provided in the inmate dorms, housing areas, recreational areas, and during meal times. Inmates are allowed to wear t-shirts and shorts in day rooms and recreational areas. Inmates should have access to cold water showers, and additional showers should be permitted when security staff is available. When using fans, use ribbons or test strips to provide visual evidence that vents and blowers are properly working, and keep window screens clean so airflow is not restricted. All inmates may purchase a fan from the unit commissary. Indigent inmates will be issued a fan on a first-come, first-served basis. During extreme temperature periods, inmate fans must not be confiscated due to property restrictions unless they have been altered or stolen. Fans are allowed in all custody levels where electrical outlets are available.
The National Weather Service issues hot weather warnings that you need to be aware of. An excessive heat watch means you should be prepared for excessive heat during the next 24 to 72 hours. A heat advisory means that within the next 12 hours, the daytime heat index, which considers both the air temperature and the relative humidity, is forecast to meet or exceed 100 degrees during the day and stay above 75 degrees at night. An excessive heat warning is issued by the National Weather Service within 12 hours of the onset of the following criteria: temperature of at least 105 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 3 hours per day for 2 consecutive days, or heat index of 113 Fahrenheit or greater for any period. In addition to the mitigation efforts previously listed, the warden shall instruct the appropriate staff to implement the following precautionary measures when excessive heat or heat wave conditions last more than 3 consecutive days. Initiate the Incident Command System, ICS. A notification shall be made to the appropriate regional director and deputy division director for CID units. Restrict and potentially cancel outside work and recreation. Reduce kitchen and dish room operations as needed. Minimize laundry operations during afternoon hours. Allow inmates to purchase electrolyte sports drinks from unit commissary without affecting their spending limit. When the excessive heat warning ends, the warden may deactivate the ICS with the appropriate approvals. During periods of extreme heat, unit staff will monitor and announce over the radio the temperature, heat index, and the risk category once every hour between 12:30 a.m. and 11:30 p.m. There are certain precautions you must take for each risk category. Please ensure you are familiar with each of these categories and their precautions located in AD 10.64, Excessive and Extreme Temperature Conditions in the TDCJ. It's important to restrict outdoor activities to minimize heat-related risk. Make sure to use designated rest areas throughout the day, and remember that inmates must have access to these areas upon request. Each unit has at least one designated rest area, and it's important to know its location. If you do not, ask your supervisor where it's located.
It is important to take precautions to stay safe and healthy in the heat. You can refer to Administrative Directive 1064 Excessive and Extreme Temperature Conditions in the TDCJ and Correctional Managed Healthcare Policy D27.2 Heat Stress for detailed information on heat-related prevention and treatment. Remember, stay hydrated, be mindful of the signs of heat-related illnesses, such as heat exhaustion or heat stroke, and seek medical attention if you, a coworker, or an inmate show symptoms. By being aware of the risk of heat-related illnesses and taking the necessary precautions, we all can stay safe and healthy during the hot months.